Okay folks, so behind me here you can see what's called the Jeanie Johnston, the ship, which was built in 1847, and this is one of the coffin ships that transported people from Dublin to the United States. So during the Great Famine in Ireland, over 1 million people fled the country, going to places like Canada and the United States. But on a lot of the ships, around 50% of the passengers either died of hunger or they died of disease on board those ships. But the ship here in front of us, the Jeanie Johnston, had a secret. And in all her voyages, she took around 2,500 people from Ireland to Canada and the United States. And guess how many died? Not one. Zero. Not one person died. So we'll discover what the secret was to this ship and why nobody died on the Jeanie Johnston. And just to know, folks, this is not the original ship. This is a replica that was built in the 1990s. And the original ship was lost in 1858. The ship was abandoned at sea because it became waterlogged. And so somewhere between Montreal and Hull in England, the ship sank. Okay, folks, so before we board the ship, you kind of need to understand, like in 1847, we had the famine here, and this is what people were fleeing, and that's why they're heading onto these coffin ships to head to the United States to find a better life. But you know, normally people were trading one nightmare for another, and you can see the monument here to the kind of the people that boarded these ships, basically in rags, not a whole lot of possessions, extremely thin and frail, and this was their only kind of way out from the famine. And just one thing to note, folks, if you do ever intend to visit the ship, the stairs are very, very steep. You just need to be careful when you're descending the stairs here. So I'm below decks here, folks, and it is quite small and cramped. Now, in front there, they aren't how the beds originally were. You'll see one now in a moment on the right hand side there of how they were originally configured. And you can see here, so they come out much further, and it was five people to a bunk, 5 on top, 5 on the bottom. So quite unpleasant, you know, being that cramped, that close together. And then there wouldn't have been a whole lot of privacy either. And then it gets bright at the moment, but back in those days they were using oil lamps, so it would have been quite dark. You can imagine the smell, you know, the smells, bodily smells, and then the smell of vomit, people getting sick, people suffering with seasicknesses and vomiting all over the place.
There's more of the man's family. That's him there at his bar.
And it would usually take 6 weeks.
Quickest cross was 26. So it's a lot longer. She was caught.
And there we have the captain. Looks like he's reading from the Bible there. Now this is where our story gets incredible. The reason the Jeanie Johnston wasn't a coffin ship comes down to one man, Dr. Richard Blessenhart, and that's a model of him there. And like other ships that crammed in as many people as they could for profit, the captain here refused to overload the boat, and the doctor. And he was obsessive about hygiene, and he made sure that the deck was constantly cleaned. He checked passengers for illness before they boarded. And it sounds simple today, but in the 1840s this was revolutionary, and it saved 2,500 people's lives on that ship. And then this is the bow of the ship. Now there's nothing really stored here nowadays, you just have to kind of rigging and stuff like that. But back in the 1840s there would have been bunks here as well, housing people, etc. And you can see various cabins here. One would have been the doctor's cabin, one would have been the captain's cabin, etc.
I take photos of you and your group, show me the fair. Be a little bit forward. Oh, you're miles away from here. Keep going again. Tell them to sign the photos. We get some creative photos here, you ladies. Why not?
Okay, folks, so that was the Jeanie Johnston, a brief look at a dark part of Irish history of people having to emigrate because of the famine. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. I did enjoy visiting the ship. It was actually nice to actually finally see the ship, even though it's a replica of the original. If you like what you're seeing, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for any future videos, please do let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care.